Puggy, what are you doing? Come here. Come to Mama. Come here. Come here. What are you doing? Come here. Come here, buddy. Buddy. Puggy, what are you doing?